Welcome to the Community Difference Frisco, powered by the Difference Media LLC, and hosted by Brian Poduska with Real Property Management Focus, and also sponsored by Paul Fisher with Certainty Home Lending, Bethany Rowan with the B. Rowan Realty Group, Jacqueline Kreider with PBJ Mortgage, Tracy Churchman with Best Buddies, Debbie Watson with Team Watson Redeemers, and by Ethan Donovan with the Donovan Creative Agency. The Community Difference Frisco was created to serve as a platform for local leaders and business professionals to showcase their expertise, values, and commitment to their community. Overall, the podcast aims to create a stronger sense of community in North Texas by highlighting the often overlooked or unnoticed good work being done by local leaders, businesses, and professionals. So sit back and relax as our host, co-host, and their guests share inspirational stories, experiences, thoughts, and insights about being a professional, along with the opportunities for our businesses to serve our communities in very special ways. Because the Community Difference Frisco starts now.
Well, good afternoon, Frisco. Welcome to the Community Difference Frisco. We are a podcast firmly rooted at the intersection of business development and community involvement. I'm your host, Brian Poduska, and if you haven't seen us before, we are, like I said, a community-based podcast, putting the spotlight on business owners, entrepreneurs, community leaders, Frisco ISD leadership, nonprofit leadership, and sports leadership, since we are Sports City USA, after all, here in Frisco. We also have rotating co-hosts every show. So we've got two new co-hosts this week. Not new. They're in the rotation here. We've got Paul Fisher and Bethany Rowan. Excited to have them join us here shortly. We also talk about a business topic of the month, and we are in a new month here in October. So the business topic this month is brand relevance, the overlooked piece to effective branding. So we're going to talk about that a little bit later in the show. We're going to get a little bit in depth with our guests on that. This is episode 41 of the Community Difference Frisco show. So thank you for watching today. I'm excited to get into this new business topic. Excited to have a brand new producer behind the scenes here. Mr. Ethan Donovan is doing his first show. So anything that goes wrong is totally his fault, and anything that goes right is also his fault. So Ethan, excited to have you driving behind the scenes here. Say hello if you'd like, if you're in the audio stream.
Absolutely. Glad to be on again.
All right, buddy. Well, thanks for stepping in and handling this. Also excited with I like that new intro. That was great. So we've got some new things going on, and I do want to say this up front because something exciting just happened since last week's show. Our show that aired last Thursday, as I mentioned, we're a weekly podcast here. So last week's show, we broke the 100,000 viewer mark in less than 7 days. So we're, I think, currently at about 105,000 views from last week's show. So super excited about that. Excited where the program and the difference in general is going. We are the Community Difference Frisco. We also have shows in Plano, Rockwall, Wiley, and are expanding to other communities around the area as well. So thank you for all the viewers currently watching and who watched last week's show to make that happen. All right, with that, let's go ahead and introduce our first co-host. If you don't mind, Ethan, bring in Miss Bethany Rowan.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm glad to be here. Hi, Brian.
Great to see you again. It seems like I've seen you about 3 times this week, or at least talked to you 3 times this week. So
exactly.
Well, yes. Excited to have you on today. Excited to meet your guest too, who I have met before. But why don't you give yourself a quick intro and then give Larry an intro as well.
Okay, I'm happy to do so. I'm Bethany Rowan with Coldwell Banker Luxury. I've been serving the Frisco community for a little over 10 and a half years in the real estate world. I served the community for another 11 years in the education world as an administrator in the district for Frisco ISD. So I am proud to be here and excited about the podcast today and what we're going to talk about.
Awesome. Well, who is your guest today?
Oh, that's a secret. I can't tell you. No, I'm so excited. So when I got into the business 10 and a half years ago, I met this really young kid who is just starting out growing his financial planning business. and we just clicked and really bounced off each other. And since then, we've been in masterminds together, networking groups together. We have just done so many things together, and he has been an incredible resource for me and his business. It's been so fun to watch his business grow over the last 10.5 years. And that's Larry Carara with Baker and Carara Investments. Yay, there he is.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Bethany, for that amazing intro. I really appreciate it. I've loved working with you for 10 plus years.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, I was talking before the show, and I was, I look at we have a back office hub, if you will, that we use to, get to know our guests before they even pop on the show. So I saw Larry's name come in, and I'm like, oh, I know Larry. So a pleasant surprise to see his name come through. So Larry and I had networked in the same group
Nice.
3 years ago or so.
Yeah, like 3-4 years ago, but that's networks back then. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hey, Larry, great to see you again. Thanks for coming on the show. What are you most excited to learn today or talk about today?
So building your brand is an interesting topic. I think there's a lot of different avenues you can go down. So I'm excited, to talk because I can suck an air out of a room. I never stop talking, but also to learn. I love just picking ideas up from people. I'm a student of life and a student of people who are smarter than me. So I just like to listen. And if I can offer anything, you'll know it because I won't stop talking.
Well, awesome. I love a good challenge as the host of a show, trying to, keep people on the rails. So no, super excited to have you on today, Larry. Thanks for being here today.
Absolutely.
All right, Ethan, do me a favor and bring in Mr. Paul Fisher, our other co-host today. Hey, Paul, what's going on, man?
Oh, man, just happy to be here. It's, it's the first Thursday of the month, and that always rings on my calendar that it's time for Bethany and I to get together and
That's right.
see what we can do to get Frisco rolling in a good way on the month.
100%.
100%. That's right. So, and we get Brian, which, I feel like, I saw Brian last night. I feel like I don't even need to do the podcast to see Brian because I see him around town. So he's turning into the new Mr. Frisco. I mean, he's out and around. So
I don't know about that, but it's certainly good to see you again, Paul. It was less than 12 hours ago, I think, that I probably
It was. Yeah. So, tell me what you need from me. Do we need to go with me or my guest or a little bit of everything?
Why don't you remind the audience who you are, what you do, and then give your guest an intro?
I will do that. Well, my name is Paul Fisher, and I'm a direct mortgage lender here at Certainty Home Lending. So obviously we do, residential mortgages, but we've got a good, bevy of investment property options as well. So, one unique thing that I bring is I'm multi-state licensed in 18 states for our company. So I handle a lot of the repeat client referrals, or even people that might be moving to Texas or moving to another state. Quite a bit this summer, I was doing investment properties for people whose kids were like in out-of-state schools. So anything from California to Florida and up the East Coast, we can certainly do some mortgage lending on that. So that's a little bit about me. I've got a really good guest of mine today. She is in my Master Networks group with me on Friday. And so happy to have her on. Her name is Chani Bergen. She is with New York Life, and she does the, kind of get you set up for retirement and financial planning strategies and things like that. And so, you want to work with somebody on that type of situation that, definitely can make a difference where you're not having to get a part-time job when you're 85 years old. So, we'd like to bring Chani in, and that way we can hear the rest of her story.
Well, hi, everybody. It is so great to be here. Thank you, Paul, for asking me on. I am excited. This is my podcast debut. So happy that it's on such a great show, looking to make a difference in our community.
Well, welcome to the show today. Great to have you on. Sounds like we've got a couple first-time podcasters. Larry said he hasn't been on one either. So that's exciting. Good to hear that. What are you most excited to talk about today on the show?
I am really excited about the way that companies are leveraging their branding and their relationships to really have more social impact in the communities and the world as a whole. I think there's becoming a shift where people are becoming more conscious of their buying dollars, where they're being spent, and what kind of messaging is being put out there.
Awesome. Love that. That's good. So we will dive into that topic in our third segment. Third segment. So with that, though, what we're going to do is take a quick commercial break. We're going to learn about what's going on in Frisco. So Ethan, take us away to commercial, and we'll be right back.
The Community Difference Frisco is made possible by Brian Poduska with Real Property Management Focus, Paul Fisher with Certainty Home Lending, Bethany Rowan with the B. Rowan Realty Group, Tracy Churchman with Best Buddies, Jacqueline Kreider with PBJ Mortgage, Debbie Watson with Team Watson Redeemers, and by Ethan Donovan with the Donovan Creative Agency. The Community Difference Frisco. Together, we can make the difference. And now, back to the show.
Are you ready?
Because it's time for
What's Up Frisco?
All right, welcome back. As you heard in the sounder there, it is What's Up Frisco. So this is a segment of the show where we talk about what's going on in the town of Frisco here. By that, I mean any sort of fun community event, any sort of fundraiser, any sort of networking event, any sort of, thing that we need to know about going on in Frisco. So, Bethany, I'm going to kick it over to you as we do all the time on the show, ladies first. So I will give you the honor. You're on mute, though. As you can see right here, we are a live show. So
we are a live show, and that's what I'm trying to keep my pups from not wanting to be entertained during this live show. So I have to mute sometimes because they are relentless. But I'm excited to get to go first because I love fall. I love all things fall, football, all the things. And so you guys know that PJ has some awesome events that come around every single year. So this Friday, and I think every Friday in October, they are doing PJ Spooky Movie Night. And so you get to go outside, sit on their lawn, watch an outdoor movie. Hopefully it won't be 100 million degrees when you go out there. But they've got some great restaurants that are there too. I just always enjoy going over there. And so that's one thing I want to talk about. But then another big thing on Saturday, that's Friday night. And then Saturday, Kaleidoscope Park is having their grand opening. And it's a big deal. This is a redo of this park, and it's just supposed to be fantastic. They're going to have food trucks and all kinds of things out there, bands, stuff for the kids. And I just think it's going to be a great event. So that is also something I wanted to highlight.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Bethany. Kaleidoscope Park, I'm super excited about. One, because I drive by it on the daily, so I've seen the progression of it being, built out and finalized. But it's super excited just for the location of it, right? It's off of Warren Parkway. It's an extension of it's walkable from the Star. And let me mention too, the Oktoberfest is overlapping at least a couple days, I believe, with the grand opening of Kaleidoscope Park. So you can actually go to Kaleidoscope Park, check that out, check all the artwork out there, and then go over and drink some beer at Oktoberfest over at the Star. So,
because are you buying the first round, Brian?
I'll say yes, but then I won't show up. So the tab will be on you, Paul.
There you go.
But I will say hello. Hello.
Stop in and say hello. So
awesome. Well, thank you, Bethany. Appreciate those. Paul, what you got going on?
Well, it's funny, that I think this is the weekend for Oktoberfest at every place in Texas. It seems like they're hitting off with the good weather. And kind of to piggyback on Oktoberfest, you can go to like the Visit Frisco website and you can see every event that's going on in Frisco for the month. And so it's kind of a good cheat if you can't remember everything, is to go to Visit Frisco and see everything else. But I'm gonna ping a guy that we had as a friend of the show, is Jake Thompson with Compete Every Day. He's a motivational and team coaching speaker, and he had asked me to mention, and you can go to his website, competeeveryday.com. But they're doing a big called Strive to Impact 2024. So it's a one-day event to how to build a stronger mindset, stricter habits, and impactful, leadership influence. So you go to competeeveryday.com, you'll see the sign up. He's going to be one of the speakers, and I will tell you that that Jake is an amazing person to hear speak. So want to definitely plug him. So, and it looks like we got a trunk or treat that was also not brought up. Do you have the slide for that, Ethan? There we go. October the 19th from 5:30 to 7. I can't even read it. Bethany and I are both zooming in. I can't even read that thing. So
it's 5:30 to 7 on October 19th.
Oh my God. Young eyes. We appreciate that. I mean, I've got, my bifocal on. I'm sure Bethany's searching for her glasses. So
excuse me. I'm not. These are real eyes.
These are the real things.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, sure. So there you go. So there's what's going on in Frisco for the week.
Awesome. Thank you, Paul. I will go ahead and talk next. Ethan, if you want to just whatever order you want to go in the splash screen, I will talk to whatever comes up. All right. So NAC Theater. So a couple comedians and a card magic trick guy coming up here. Mr. Tom Cotter, this is November 16th, 2024. So in about a month and a half, 18+ show. This is at the NAC Theater, downtown Frisco. Super cozy environment. There's about 250 seats available. So this guy's been on America's Got Talent. And this next act that you'll see, Ethan, if you want to switch over, there you go. So the extraordinary card magic of Jason Ledane. Jason Ledane, if you haven't seen him on Shorts and Reels, he does some amazing tricks with cards. Literally plucks cards out of a shuffled deck and all kind of, sets up these crazy hands of poker. And it's not sleight of hand. He just knows how to track cards. So, not to mention, he's funny. He's sarcastic. He can be a little bit naughty. So I don't see an 18+ on this one, but it probably should be. Come out to NAC Theater. That's October 18th and 19th. He is a nationally touring guy. So again, cozy environment, NAC Theater, downtown Frisco, right here in Frisco. Go ahead. Let's talk about Lendon's book here, Entrepreneurial Difference. So I know we're up to at least number 69 on the Amazon bestsellers list. That was as of late last week. Where are we at now? No, that's old news. That's 95. We are up to, I believe, in the 60s. So get this book, right? And this is the basis of a BDA training program that we have going on locally as well. But anybody in the country can get this book. It's a unique look at a holistic way of doing your business development and growing your business. So as you can see there, the new paradigm of ecosystem-driven business growth, brand new concept, a brand new way to think about your entire holistic way of building your business and doing your business development. So check that out. I did mention the BDA. I want to talk about that on the show here today. The BDA stands for Business Development Alliance, and that is taking the lessons that you just saw in that book and implementing them, teaching them, and then allowing local business owners to implement them in setting, right? So right here in Frisco, we are having our first BDA session next Tuesday at Blue Mesa. That's on 121 in Dallas North Tollway. Bethany, you have done a great job in leading that and getting that pulled together. So we have a side room at Blue Mesa next Tuesday. What time? It's 5 to 7 p.m. So we will be in the side room. Anybody's welcome. It's a free business development training. Something that's implementable right away. And then after that, we have a networking event at Blue Mesa for roughly an hour and a half. Just come and meet people. You don't have to go to one to go to the other. Like I said, they're both free. It's just an opportunity to meet, mingle, and grow your business.
And Brian, let me add to that. Since we had it last week, it was an amazing educational experience for all the people that came. It's a room of entrepreneurs that come in. You don't have to have read the book before you get there or even have the book. It's great to have the book and be able to read it so you can, participate in conversation. But it was such an amazing learning experience for me. I'm already growing and implementing some things in my business that I need to do for my next year's business plan. And so it's well worth the hour to come there and be a part of the group.
Well, that's a great testimonial. You're absolutely right. So what Bethany's referring to last week, Plano, so the Community Difference Plano, they had their second session of the Business Development Alliance. We are doing our kickoff, the Frisco version of that, next Tuesday at Blue Mesa. So thanks for sharing that, Bethany. That's great testimonial and absolutely true. There will be follow-up classes online. So this one is in person. We are going to meet every month in person, the second Tuesday of every month here in Frisco. And there will be online opportunity to supplement what you learn at that class. Again, guys, this is all free. So this isn't something that you have to pay for. It's a unique opportunity. Ethan, do you have anything else from me from slides? If not.
Okay, but cool. My favorite co-host said hello.
Hi, Debbie.
Everybody's favorite co-host, except the ones I have on the show today, Miss Debbie Watson. Thanks for tuning in. I did want to mention real briefly the Frisco ISD incubator program. So we've had a splash screen up in the past. Basically, what this program is, it's like a Shark Tank for high school students, right? So these high school students at 5 of the 13 Frisco highs can get together, come up with a product or service, and propose it to a board of directors, basically, who can approve them for getting funding to launch this entrepreneurial venture. The 5 different high schools will each have their different projects. They'll bring them in front of the main board, and then if they get approved, they will go to a national competition. So super exciting, unique thing going on in Frisco ISD. If you want to get involved in that, reach out to myself. I'll put you in touch with Ashley Sine, who is the director of that program. Would love to share that with share that opportunity. They're looking for volunteers in multiple different ways. So if you have time and you're a business owner, entrepreneur, reach out to us and we can get you connected with that group. Ethan, I did want to mention the trunk or treat. Hopefully you do have that splash screen. That's the one last thing. It's a different trunk or treat.
Nope, that was the only trunk or treat I got.
Okay. The one that I had sent to Landon, it's a different one. The one that I'm talking about is October 28th. It's Collin College, and I believe it's at the main campus right here in Frisco. We'll have that graphic up in future weeks here, but that will be October 28th, so we have time to get that one socialized. But it's another opportunity to come out, bring your kiddos, and dress up and dress your car up too. Okay, with it, Chani, I believe you had something that you want to talk about related to Master Networks. Is that accurate?
I'll go ahead and take it. I expected Paul to do it, but I will
Paul
invite
said he had it covered, but
everybody.
Yeah, I didn't cover it. Yeah. Go ahead,
Paul and I are in a Master Networks group that meets every Friday morning at 9:30 at Tender Smokehouse in Frisco on Preston Road. And we'd love for you to join us. We have a lot of fun. We are having a guest race actually in October. I know that Paul and I would love to be tied for first place. So you need to come and tell people you heard about it here. Lots of great networking, lots of great opportunities. Synergy partnerships have come out of that. And they have amazing brisket and pancakes. So you can't go wrong for breakfast.
That's right. And I'm doing the training tomorrow. So that's another reason to come.
Well, perfect. All right. Well, and I do have to mention, you guys are competing with us on the Master Networks Friday. I am the president of a chapter in Frisco. We meet at 10 a.m. at Rudy's. So there are plenty of business owners and entrepreneurs to go around. So if you can't come to our chapter, always support their chapter. Come to one of them because we're all one big family and all like-minded. Trying to help each other out. All right. With that, guys, I think that wraps up our What's Up Frisco segment. I want to let you know, Ethan, let's take us to commercial break. We'll come out of that, and we're going to talk about the business topic of the month. Until then, give our sponsors some love. See ya.
And now a word from a few of our amazing sponsors that make the Difference Radio, live stream, and podcast network possible.
Total Care Emergency Room now has 9 locations in the DFW Metroplex. With no appointment needed, our incredible staff will get you checked in with no wait times. Our 5-star facility is open and fully staffed 24/7. We offer extensive treatment options for patients of all ages, providing on-site labs and imaging equipment, including CT, X-ray, and ultrasound, allowing us to provide fast, convenient care for our community. Total Care ER is your neighborhood emergency room. TotalCare.us.
Unwanted pests in your home can be stressful. From creepy crawlies to critters under the floorboards, they disrupt your peace of mind. But don't worry. All Pest Solutions is here to help. We offer a comprehensive range of safe and effective pest control solutions. We target all types of pests, big or small, including insects, rodents, and wildlife. All Pest Solutions, your local experts for a pest-free home. Breathe easy and enjoy your life again. Call today for a free quote. 972-442-1169 or email us at customerservice@allpestsolutions.com.
To belong is one of our most basic human needs. Best Buddies International is the world's largest organization dedicated to ending the social isolation of 200 million individuals who have intellectual and developmental disabilities. We focus on meaningful one-to-one friendships, integrated employment, leadership development, and inclusive living. You have the power to make an impact, create change, and champion our mission of inclusion today.
We are Cloud Staff, enabling remarkable growth for businesses everywhere with our pioneering enterprise-grade remote work solutions. We are on a mission to help business owners scale while reducing costs by matching you with an amazing staff, mobilizing your team, and helping manage business performance, making us the #1 workplace as remote work gets done. Connect with us to access the world's top talent and discover how we can enable remarkable growth for your business.
And now, back to the show.
All right, welcome back, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for sticking with us through the commercial break. We are going to spend the next segment talking about our business topic of the month. As I mentioned up front, we have a rotating business topic of the month. This is the first week of October, so we have a new business topic, and that is brand relevance, the overlooked piece to effective branding. So, I want to kick this one off because branding is a fun topic, and it's one that in my previous life I worked in corporate America for 20 years for a very well-known, well done company that does branding very well, and that's PepsiCo. I had the honor to work on several massive global brands, which is pretty awesome. And as we've talked about this topic in the past, as it relates to our own personal brands and our own entrepreneurial brands, right? So it's slightly different when we talk about the definition of the brand. So I'm going to let you guys co-host kind of kick off the questioning. Bethany, I'm sorry to do this, but ladies first, right? So why don't you get to go get us kicked off on the topic?
Yeah, so it's funny because this past week I was in a mastermind, and then I was with my regular real estate meeting with my brokerage on Wednesday, and they were talking about brand relevance and how can we, in the world of 1 million real estate agents, stand out, add that value proposition. And one of the things they talked about was using storytelling to really connect with buyers and sellers out there. Because a lot of times what people see is, okay, that's awesome. Here's my new house. It's listed. And then the next thing they see is sold. And they don't see any of the behind the scenes stuff that might go on. The house might be a mess. We have to have a contractor. We have to have a painter. We have to have an organizer. I might turn them over to Paul, and then they turn in their financials, and that might all be a hot mess too. But
no, not a hot mess on our end.
Yeah, well, I didn't say for that. I'm saying with the people that we're working with, might be a little bit of a hot mess, but right. So the focus is telling that story about how many people came together to complete a person's dream. And so, Larry, when you're meeting with clients that come to you, and I know this because I'm one of them, you ask a lot of great questions about, where do people want to be financially in 5 years and 10 years? How do you help them see that vision through storytelling?
So I pretty much try to take all of the complex product or complex topics and I try to bring it down to a level that everyone can understand. So it's important to be able to take the the abstract and the hard parts of finance and make it palatable to people where they can understand. So that was the challenge for me starting off, was really being able to articulate in a way that made sense these complex topics. And then once that's happened, it's been really easy for me since then to be able to go and build out my own personal idea of what my brand should be. So without getting too in depth with what I do individually in my business, I think that's at a later section. Storytelling is really useful because it helps, like I said, it helps just bring down the really complex to the really simple.
Well, I think that goes hand in hand with people that sit in front of you, because again, your topics are very complex, and probably a lot of people that come in to meet you feel almost intimidated, right?
Yeah, it's everyone thinks because they handle money on a daily basis that they understand finance, and that's not the case, right? Just because you deal with your budget, and most people actually don't even have a budget, so I can't say that. So yeah, I like to say, you've heard this before, I know, because when we sat down, I told you this. I don't know how to be a real estate agent. I would fail at your job day one.
Right.
So you expect to be 100% competent in what I do. I don't expect you to be there, and there's no judgment either way.
Yeah.
I buy a lot of rental properties, and I still call you monthly, pretty much to ask you questions. So it's a good partnership. It is, absolutely.
Yeah.
And Larry, I've got a good analogy for that because I've heard, you want to try to stay in your lane, and I always told people I like to listen to radio, but it doesn't make me a DJ. So I think that probably kind of falls into that same thing, to let the finance people take care of your finances, really take care of your realtor and things like that. But that kind of brings me up to Chani as far as like brand, let's call it like brand differentiations. I mean, you got New York Life as your company, but how do you differentiate Chani with New York Life and someone else as far as like what you offer? I mean, what are they getting when they work with you?
I like to think they're getting a sunny disposition, Paul.
Well, I know that.
No, really. But that's what makes you different, because there are a million insurance agents out there. There's a million financial advisors, just like there's a million realtors and mortgage lenders. So where you're different is the story really of why you are doing what you do. What is your unique value that you bring to the table? So if you're wanting to work with people who can connect with you on a deeper level, you have to find your people. You have to find people who share your interests, your passions, and you have to be able to communicate those. Because it's great to have one overreaching brand that's easily recognizable, but to choose you have to be different, and you have to be special to the clients that you're trying to reach.
And what are some of the ways that you, I guess, attack that? I mean, as far as finding, when you find new clients, I mean, is there like a process you go through, or is there something?
I ask a lot of questions. I'm a little bit nosy, right? So I want to know what people like to do. I want to know what their dreams are, their plans are. I will tell you that I tend to connect very well with people that have chickens, they have dogs, right? I'm an animal person. Knitting, reading, doing puzzles. These are things that I've done since childhood, and they're connection points. So when I'm meeting people out in coffee groups, or I go to community events that maybe involve some of these things, and that's where I meet people where we have that connection point, a common interest we can build on, and we take the conversation from there. We all have the same basic needs in having a good relationship with our money, keeping a budget, building for our future, but who do we choose to do that with?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. I've heard a couple key points here. Community engagement being one that Chani just mentioned. Larry, I think you mentioned, storytelling and really getting after getting to know and simplifying for your clients. I've got something that I wanted to know if you guys have thoughts on, and that's consistency across your messaging, right? So whether it be on Facebook or in person or online, even if you do any online advertising, have you tried to be consistent, intentionally consistent across those different platforms? And anybody can answer.
Consistency is an area that I struggled, I will say, initially, because there is such a broad reach of people, and you have that instinct to want to help everybody, that's an area where I've been refining my process and dialing down to say, okay, this is my target. This is my ideal. This is where I need to start doing my messaging so that when those people see me, they know me.
Yeah.
Yes, I can still help other people, but if you market too broadly, you're not really reaching anybody effectively.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, you think about Apple, right? To talk about massive brands, right? So Apple, their approach to data privacy, simplification, easy for me to say, simplification, ease of use, right? They're consistent across all their different devices, platforms, you name it. So the great example there, and yes, as small business owners, entrepreneurs, obviously we have a different, different budget certainly, but different platforms that we can go through. So yeah, I'm with you, Chani. The ability to be consistent across all those platforms is definitely a challenge with a small business, but certainly has value on the larger scale. Bethany, do you have something else that you wanted to ask?
Yeah, again, as we're talking about brand relevance, I think that for each one of us as entrepreneurs, it's important for us to stand out in the marketplace, right? And that relevance has to be something that people can relate to. So, for example, the Nike and the Apple and the McDonald's, when you see those brands, you connect with them in some certain way. You either really, really like a burger from McDonald's, or you really, really despise it because it really screws up your diet. And I think sending a message to people with your own business, because again, we're talking about super, super big corporations and we're these, small one-man teams. What message are we sending to continue to create that brand relevance, and how can we be consistent about that? Because like Chani, I agree. It's the consistency piece that we have to stick with it. Because I think we start that process, and then we're also our, tax department, and we're our this department, and then we have to show houses, and then we have to, and so then that consistency falls off if you don't have that in place to stay relevant in the marketplace. So
that's a great point.
That's kind of what I was just thinking about as we were talking through this topic.
Yeah, that's good.
So,
Larry, what you got, man?
Yeah, so this is actually a really interesting topic for me to talk about, because about 2.5 years ago, I left Edward Jones, great company. I just kind of outgrew them from my standpoint and what they could offer me and clients. So I went from a company that had national, deep-rooted 1922 starting recognition to another very, very established company, Raymond James. But as you can see at the bottom of my little window there, the name of my company, there's no Raymond James associated with it. It's Baker and Carara Private Wealth. So having to make the choice between linking myself to a giant corporation, which has brand recognition, or betting on myself, for me was a giant, giant leap of faith. And you have to have consistent messaging across everything you do. And it's not just, social media, which anyone who works in the finance industry for a big firm can relate. We are so overly regulated. Everything I do, I can't believe I'm allowed on a podcast today.
I'm amazed you guys are here. I don't mean to interrupt, Larry, but I'm amazed you guys are here, because it's always a struggle to get people from your industry to come on. So
yeah, I had a great 30-minute conversation with my compliance department. I know what I pretty much can and can't say. So
what's funny about that? I don't want to break up, but usually when we've had like finance people on, they like, before we start, let me get out my paper so I can read my compliance statement, and then we'll move on. So. I can't wait to hear more of what you got to say. So sorry to interrupt, but
no worries at all. As long as I don't give advice, we're okay. So, but the idea of just keeping consistency, not only and being a small business owner like we are, not only through your messaging and your marketing, which is very hard to do in the finance industry, but the way you speak, who you speak to, how you speak to them, and then not tailoring it so much towards every single person. You can't be the answer for everyone. Just like Chani said, it's really important to figure out who your ideal client is. I have a very, very specific person that I'm looking to work with or family that I'm looking to work with. And if you try to be everything to everybody, it's like diversification. If you own everything, you actually don't own anything.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's also important for us to recognize as we're moving into like November, December, we're going to start talking a lot about and hearing a lot about preparing for the new year, right? Our business plans, what's that going to look like? What are we going to do? What changes are we going to make? And I think as entrepreneurs, we feel like, okay, it's a new year. We need to make a change so that we can make our brand more relevant. And sometimes I think that really goes back to consistency in what we're talking about. You know, we don't have to change what the focus of our brand relevance is just because it's going to be a new year and we feel like it has to be something new. Because in my opinion, brand relevance and staying consistent to where people know the value proposition that your company offers takes time, lots and lots of time and commitment to that. And so I think that's important for us to just talk about here for a second as we go into, hey, it's time to create your new business plan for the year.
Yeah. I mean, I even think, when we talk about like brand relevance, I mean, you even think about, what makes you as a person relevant. I mean, are you offering something that, that no one else does? And I like how Chani put it. I mean, who she's going after and, being approachable and transparent, all the things that we talk about, but I see 5 people on this show that actually kind of walk that walk. So
yeah.
That was a great point. I mean, I feel like I'm just kind of sitting back and listening because it's all things that are, kind of reaffirming, and you see a lot of head nodding, like, I'm putting that in, and, maybe I've never heard the topic, brand relevance brought out before, and it, kind of puts 2 and 2 together. So I think it's all great points. Brian, did you have something, or I see you like ready to go?
Yeah, I was going to interrupt you, Paul, but I'll let you go.
Yep.
So I'm glad I didn't do that. What I wanted to do is just guide the conversation really to one specific topic that I always find interesting because, as I mentioned, I've worked on some pretty awesome brands in my past. Strategic partnerships is what I'm talking about. So collaboration, strategic partnerships, right? I had the honor to work on the Gatorade brand for several years when I was up in the Chicago area. And sports marketing was right next to me. And I hung out with those guys, played in fantasy football leagues with them. So I got to know them pretty well and figured out, all right, who are you looking to partner with, right? Like when it comes to a big brand like Gatorade, it was all about what they called, I forget the word, but basically every time an impression, anytime you see it on screen, it's an impression, right? So it's on every sideline because if you see an athlete drinking a Gatorade, it's a media impression, right? So you collaborate with the NFL, you collaborate with the NBA, the old Gatorade dunk when you pour it on a coach at the end of the Super Bowl, that's all part of the branding strategy. And it's all about partnership. So we've got about 2 minutes on this topic, but does anybody have a good example or something that resonated with you that you at a business level, personal business level, local community level, have utilized or seen utilized very well a collaboration or a partnership?
I work in partnerships a lot. Most recently, I've been pairing up as we're going into open enrollment with Medicare specialists. So it's not necessarily something where she has her personal brand for her agency, but Medicare is just recognizable, I think, even without having technically, I guess, a logo that goes with it. But when we're talking about recognizable brands, and this is not necessarily, I'm sure they do have stuff near Frisco, but I always remember when I would go to the PBR events, which is professional bull riding, and you would see branding on the vests the bull riders wear, and there would be Monster representatives at the events. So those brands would find like, okay, these are cowboys, they're amped up, they need energy, and they would bring Monster and brand with them. So it's businesses across the board are finding people who are good synergy partners for them, and then putting on things together and putting their brands out in the world together. So when you think of one, you think of the other.
Yeah. Yeah. And it really comes down to, the leverage that, the rising tide raises all boats. When you can leverage somebody else's brand reach along with your own, 2 is definitely better than 1. Man, I'm looking at the clock here. We're going to have to wrap up the business topic because we need to spend time getting to know Larry and Chani here after we take our next commercial break. So Guys, great insights. Love it. Also wanted to give a shout out. I saw Diane Castle's name there. Also, Benicia said hello in the show here. So thanks, guys, for watching. But with that, Ethan, why don't you take us to commercial break, and we'll be right back to learn more about Chani and Larry.
And now a word from a few of our amazing sponsors that make the Difference Radio, live stream, and podcast network possible. At Fireboss Realty, we believe life is about relationships, and everything else is just details. Whether you're buying or selling, Scott and Amy Johnson are here to understand your family's unique needs and deliver expert guidance on the North Texas real estate market. With a reputation for integrity and personalized service, Fireboss Realty makes your home journey stress-free and successful. Ready to make your move? Visit firebossrealty.com and let's ignite your real estate dreams.
Everyone deserves access to affordable health insurance, but with traditional insurance, costs can be high and getting coverage can be complicated. JP Direct Health is a simpler, more affordable way to get the health coverage you need. With plans for individuals, families, and small businesses, you can save money on monthly premiums without the need for physicals. At jpdirecthealth.com, we specialize in customizing coverage to fit almost every budget with affordable PPO plans and many other benefits. With over 100 5-star Google reviews, JP Direct Health is a trusted resource making health insurance affordable and accessible for everyone year-round. Affordable health insurance solutions are a proactive protection, not a reactive solution. Visit jpdirecthealth.com today and see how much you can save.
I'm always here to help. Thank you.
Are you or someone you know pregnant or planning to conceive? Caitlin Smith is both a certified childbirth doula and instructor offering childbirth classes to couples wanting an unmedicated, physiological birth outside of the hospital setting. Caitlin has served the local community since 2021 and specializes in working closely with midwives, all while best supporting a mother's physical body, her partner, and the birth environment. You can contact Caitlin through Instagram at thismamadoula or email her at caitlinsmithdoula@gmail.com to learn more about childbirth classes or her doula services.
Are you looking to buy a home? The process can be daunting, but it doesn't have to be. With the help of a qualified loan officer like Paul Fisher, you can get the financing you need and get into your dream home. Paul Fisher, a direct local lender with Certainty Home Lending, has many years of experience helping people buy homes. He's knowledgeable, experienced, and he'll work with you to find the best loan for your needs. Contact Paul Fisher today to get started on your home buying journey. He'll help you every step of the way, so you can relax and focus on finding your dream home. Visit www.loansbyfisher.com or call 817-308-7361 to schedule a consultation with Paul. MLS number 2018111.
Now back to the show.
All right, welcome back. Thank you for those sponsor spots. Appreciate all of our sponsors here on The Difference, the Community Difference Frisco in particular, which we're watching today. All right, so we're getting into the segment which I always enjoy, just learning about our guests, right? So I'm lucky enough to be here every week, so I get to meet all of our guests and get to know them. So with that, Chani, why don't you just tell the audience a little bit about yourself, your story, how you got to where you're at today. I love hearing the winding stories, the winding roads as to how we, how we are at today. So with that, what's your why, that sort of thing. So let us know about Chani.
All right. Well, Chani is a wife, a mother, and a caregiver, and I embarked on my journey in financial services after my father had a stroke. He didn't have a plan in place, and I didn't have the education at the time to really maximize what he had. So I followed a lot of direction that was potentially good advice in the short term. However, he has defied all expectations and is still very much healthy with us and living in my home. But because of his lack of planning, he has become a burden on my family in that as much as we love him and are willing, he does cause a time drain, a financial drain. And he had lost all choice in his future when this happened because he didn't have things in place or directions for us to follow. And because we had never had those conversations, when he had a stroke and could no longer have the conversation because he's nonverbal, he was left having no control or choice in his life anymore. And I thought that was incredibly sad. And I saw the way it impacted my family. And I said, how can I get into an industry and help folks that are like us to prepare for things they don't want to think about, have the hard conversations they don't want to have, so that if the unexpected happens, there's something in place and they have some direction that they can go that is beneficial to everybody involved.
Well, that's a heck of a why. And that, I love hearing the compelling, as sad as that is, I'm glad to hear that, he's doing well, given the stroke, but, that's a heck of a why right there. What were you doing before that?
I was managing restaurants, and I thought that was my happy place until I had my son and realized that 70 hours a week away from the home, leaving my husband now with the primary burden of caring for my father and then an infant, wasn't fair to him. And I was spending a lot of time somewhere that really wasn't worth it when I looked at what I was trading that time for. It's not more important than my family. And so I gave up that position and gained a lot more freedom and entered into an industry where I can actually help people.
Love that. Well, I know one of our co-hosts here can relate to the restaurant business.
Yes, you can. Yeah, that was a long. Yeah, it's and it's like Chani said. I mean, doing that. I mean, I did it for 27 years, and so you realize what's important in life. And I like Chani's story because it's a gentle reminder every day that that she is needed and she is relevant, and she's trying to find the next person to help because she's been down that road before. So I think and that might be one of the most powerful why statements I've ever heard. So I'm glad you found it.
So Chani, since we were talking about leveraging your story, how are you seeing that impact your business with your ability to help people?
I have been afraid to share it because it's difficult to do it without crying. And I don't like to be overly emotional. And it's very personal. And when I'm meeting with clients, I don't want them to feel like I'm bringing them my problem. I want them to know I'm here to solve theirs. So I've been trying to find the way to present it where I'm able to say, hey, I understand, I'm living this. So tell me your problems, tell me your concerns. How can I help? And having solutions. So for me, embarking on telling this story is been a long time coming. And it's something that if you're following my socials, you're going to start seeing, because I've been working on my messaging and my consistency and really bringing a personal story into why I do what I do.
Yeah.
I think it makes it very relatable and transparent. I mean, I think you should share it.
Absolutely. I think people are definitely more connected to you when they're like, oh my gosh, I am wanting to cry every day because I've got this person, whether it's your mother or your father or, somebody that it's been put upon you to take care of when you didn't realize that was going to be the case. And then you have a newborn at the same time. Such a relatable story to help people, reach out to you for sure.
I agree.
Message.
Yeah, that's great. And to bring it back as far as effective branding goes, that's one of the biggest, the empathy word, right? So you can certainly show some empathy with your clients based on your own personal experience. So that is certainly a unique piece to branding as well. Not just inherent in yourself, right? So no, that's great. Thanks for sharing that, Chani. I love hearing stories like that, and I'm glad it's going in a positive direction right now. Larry, let's focus on you a little bit. I know a little bit about you in that not to mess with you because a little bit of jujitsu that most people don't know. So tell us a little bit about Larry, and I want to hear about your rental properties and how those are going too. But tell us your story, how you got to where you're at, and obviously you've got a new business that you launched, separate from Edward Jones. So that's great. So just tell us your backstory a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. So I got into finance really young. Me and my grandfather spent a lot of time together, and me and him have been trading stocks together since I was about 13 years old, 12 years old, and went off to college, decided that I wanted to be a cop till I saw what the pay range was. And I was like, I don't want to be a cop. And So I got my associate's degree in criminal justice, ended up going through getting my bachelor's degree in finance, traded stocks all throughout college to be able to put myself without having to do, regular working in restaurants. I did that all during the summer. I worked in restaurants to save up for college. So after college, got a job offer from Edward Jones, moved down to Texas, and my why is a little bit different. And I truly and deeply in my heart believe I was put on this planet to make people wealthy. There seems to be this problem with people hating wealthy people and making people rich, and I don't really care. It makes me feel good when people's accounts grow. It's deep-seated in my heart, and I mean that because I remember when I was 4 years old digging in the couch for coins and understanding the difference at that age between saving and investing, because they are two vastly different things. So that's why I'm a financial planner. That's why I work with my clients, is I want to make everyone wealthy. I think that the safest thing and the most conservative thing you can do is be wealthy and have more money. It affords you a better lifestyle. It affords you more protection. So that's my why behind who I am and what I do in the business sense. Now, outside of business, I do everything. My hobbies are all encompassing, and my family is all encompassing. So I'm a husband. I have two amazing kids I'm actually speechless, and I'm never speechless at how much I love those two little kids, son and a daughter. I do have rental property, so I have a rental property business on the side as well. Weirdly enough, I have a airplane rental business that I'm partaking in now, and soon potentially an exotic car rental business too. So, and a coaching business for other financial advisors. So I'm kind of, I'm stretched for time, but it forces me to be efficient. I've learned how to overlay a successful process from one sector of business, which is the business I'm in now with financial planning. And I've learned how to monetize other businesses through that.
And what I love about Larry and our relationship is, he and I were kind of babies in the business when we met each other. I mean, I'm much more his senior, obviously doesn't look like it, but he was a baby and I was a baby in real estate. And we learned a lot together through he focuses mainly on long-term rentals and how to really monetize his money with those properties. And it's really helpful for me to have him as a partner in my pocket to pass people along. Hey, you're interested in taking equity from your home and starting a long-term or a short-term rental business. Well, I've got, this great wealth of knowledge right here that I can pass you along to. And then he does the same thing for me, for people that are wanting to get into things. And so it's been a great collaboration. Speaking of collaboration and brand relevance.
There we go. Tying it back to the topic. I
Right.
love it.
It always comes back.
So back to the business, that it's just been a really great partnership for us over the last 10 and a half years.
Yeah, I love that. And Diane, you're right. It's a true gift and blessing to live your purpose. That's right. And we've got a couple of guests on who are doing that right now. Larry, what I love about, your approach, just looking at wealth in general, a lot of folks think of investing and they think only of, securities, stocks, bonds, whatever. You're living it where you're diversified in real estate and obviously you're licensed to sell securities as well. What did you learn something early on in your life that gave you that insight, or how did you decide to kind of broaden your portfolio in that way?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I believe you can learn a lot from people on both sides of the spectrum. You can watch someone and learn what not to do, and you can learn what to do. So my grandfather, who I spoke about, who we traded stocks constantly, I stepped back in my sophomore year of college and I was like, where are you getting all your money from? And he owned a gas station. He owned the real estate of that gas station. So I picked up a couple of books and I just read about real estate. And the idea of diversification in my particular industry is typically held to, different sectors, different companies, and people, like you said, they're very narrowly focused on that one aspect. Now, I don't give advice on on buying real estate. I'll let people know the pitfalls of it. I'll refer them over to Bethany. I shouldn't be doing that because I'm not a professional in real estate, but I do own 8 rental properties now and 2 commercial properties. So it's, okay, how did I come about that? I watched people who were more successful than me, and I tried to emulate them. So that's how I kind of got that. That, and I'm also a little bit ADD. I don't like to do one thing for too long. And yeah, Bethany knows. My brain jumps around.
Absolutely.
Insane.
The one thing he did not get from his grandfather before he passed away, and I had the privilege of meeting this amazing man that he speaks of, he did not learn how to make his New York meatballs.
Incorrect. I can make them as good, if not better. Because
okay.
Compare it
to the next meeting we have together, because his grandfather invited me over for his meatballs when he was here at one point, and they were completely amazing. So
our family crest is a meatball. So
he was a great guy.
Okay, so I see an event in our future where Larry's catering, the family meatball tradition, and
100%.
Let us. I can do it again.
In the airplane.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a new venture, Paul. That one's scaring us completely, but we'll see.
No, it sounds like it's got the right guy for it. I mean.
Yep, indeed. All right, well, awesome. Larry, thanks for sharing that. And Chani, I love hearing the stories, right? And that's the blessing we get in the show, is that we get to know you guys through your stories. So thank you for that. What we're going to do is wrap up this segment. We're going to come back and we're going to talk about what's the difference. So be prepared. I'm going to ask you a question. There's going to be no right or wrong answer. I just want to hear your guys' perspective. So with that, Ethan, go ahead and take us to break. We'll be right back.
At the Community Difference Business Development Alliance, powered by the Difference Media LLC, our mission is to empower small business owners by transcending acceptable behaviors and outcomes into exceptional realms. We foster a culture of self-awareness, accountability, and proactive engagement, guiding individuals to recognize and overcome indifference towards transformative actions, habits, behaviors, and processes driving meaningful change. Through strategic networking, impactful content creation, and innovative top-of-mind strategies, we cultivate brand relevance and differentiation, enabling our partners and the Difference community to stand out in crowded markets. With a focus on building authentic connections, amplifying brand presence, and driving sustainable growth, we equip entrepreneurs with the tools and mindset to navigate the complexities of entrepreneurship with confidence, innovation, and resilience. Together, we aim to be the catalyst for difference makers, propelling them towards their highest potential and leaving a lasting impact on their businesses and communities. That's where our community podcasts come in. These podcasts lie directly at the intersection of innovative business development and community involvement, helping to bridge the gap between small business obscurity often seen in our communities. The community-based podcasts called the Community Difference Series are an integral part of integrating all facets of modern business development into a package of great content, positive impact branding, and top-of-mind presence, thus fulfilling the greater mission we set forth. When we set out to be difference makers, we can learn to make a difference and find the success and impact innately desired by all business owners and entrepreneurs. We are difference makers.
And now it's time for What's the Difference?
All right, welcome back. We are in the What's the Difference segment. I did want to just give another shout out to the stat that I threw up early in the show and the intro, and that is related to the commercial that you just saw about what the difference is all about, right? We just hit 105,000 views from last week's show. So it talk about relevance and relevance within the community, relevance with your small business and all small businesses in the community. That is really what we're about here, and love to see the progress that we've made over the last week on that last show. So just wanted to call that out real quick before we get into what's the difference. But with that, I'm going to ask you a question. I've got, I think, 12 different topics, and I usually pick a question based on either who we have as guests or what we've talked about. So that's going to be no different this show. The topic is professional identity. The question that I'm going to ask, and I think we're probably only going to have time for one question, but we'll see. I'll play this by ear, and I'll probably make Ethan nervous as we get to the end of our show here. Timing. No better time than his first one to make him nervous on. So in the topic of professional identity, the question is, what's the difference between being a specialist and being a generalist? I know, I think it was you, Larry, who mentioned something about it, that topic earlier. So I plucked that out. What's the difference between being a specialist and being a generalist? Let's go with Chani first because we go ladies first. What's your opinion on that?
I think it's the concept of being a jack of all trades, but a master of none. So if you're projecting everything very generally and you can do 1,000 things, what is to lead anybody to believe that you can do one of them better than somebody else?
Yeah, love that. That's good. Larry, what about you? What's your thought on that one?
In my professional life, I want to be a specialist. In my personal life, I want to be a generalist. Within my professional life, and I think you can see that by all my hobbies and things that I do, but professionally, if you are a generalist, especially in the finance industry, it's going to lead to capacity issues. So I define my success by how many families I can help become wealthy. How many families will have more money than they have days left on the planet? If I try to do that for everybody, I will fail because I will not be able to effectively help the correct amount of people. I have 35 more families I can work with, and then I'm at capacity before I either have to hire somebody or not. So I want to really be specific on who I help, why I help them, and what we can accomplish together.
And Larry, I think that's good business planning for you to understand your capacity and like how many more people you can work with, where you're giving each one of them the ample time that they need to do what your mission is, which is to help them grow to make more money. And so I think that's a great thing that you pointed out about your business plan, is knowing how many people can I work with to make this happen and still stick to the values of my company.
Yep.
Yeah, I like that. Bethany and Paul, I'm interested in your viewpoint on this one, just because, whether it's lending or selling real estate, there's a wide spectrum of different options that you can do. So what's your answer to the question, Bethany?
Go ahead.
Nope. No, ladies first, Paul.
Well, I didn't know. I mean, you never know with Brian. He might be changing up the wheel.
Exactly. No, I think it really ties down to, again, what I was mentioning with Larry is, what's your business plan? What's your target avatar that you're looking to work with, and how can you help those people? Is that a first-time home buyer? Is that an empty nester? Are those the people in the middle? Because then going back to your brand relevance, it needs to relate to those people, right? My target market is going to look different if I'm working with the millennials in the middle versus my empty nesters that are, maybe in their 50s and 60s, and are sitting on homes that they, bought 20 years ago. So I think it's important for you to know your target market to be able to stay focused on that.
I like that.
I mean, like for me, I like Chani's answer was kind of what I was thinking. And I heard, you know how to get everybody's, broad spectrum. But for me, I think I start out as a generalist, if I'm working with somebody, because I don't know until I can fine tune them in to see, what something unique or special is going to work out for them. So I start out as a generalist, but work my way into that part to see what egg they're going to what hold that. You don't know until you spend time talking to them. Face-to-face conversations, things like that has to happen. So start here and work your way in.
Yeah, I like that. And Paul, I think you might have had a little bit of background noise there, so I didn't catch all of it. But one of the ways I like to look at this question, so I'm going to give my answer pretty quickly here, and then I'm going to read the what I'll call the Webster's Dictionary answer to this question. There is no right or wrong answer, but I'll read the one that I guess the dictionary would spit out. I think of it, from a business progression standpoint, right? And Larry, I think you touch on a little bit in that you want to work with the right folks, right? So you've got a capacity and you want to fill that capacity with the right folks. I think, and this is my personal experience, when I started my business, I didn't know necessarily, I thought I knew who I wanted to work with. But when you're building your business, you start working with people that you quickly realize that you're not a fit for. I won't go into the property management piece of it, but as you mature in your business and as you grow your business, you start learning, okay, there's a certain service level that you're providing that is either a fit for people or it's not. So that's where, to your point, Paul, you start kind of as a generalist and then you start narrowing it down as you get better at knowing what value that you offer and what your clients are looking for. So it's really matching that value to what the needs are. So that's my personal opinion. The Webster's Dictionary answer to the question of what's the difference between being a specialist and being a generalist? The answer is being a specialist involves developing deep expertise in a specific area, often becoming a go-to authority in that niche. Being a generalist involves having broad knowledge across multiple areas, often enabling flexibility and adaptability in various roles. So it touches on positives for both, and there are positives for each. And I think, depending on what your business model is and what your target client would be, you can kind of go either way. So I'm looking at my clock here. I was going to ask another question, but I'll save it for one of the future shows on this business topic because I don't want to make Ethan, angry as his first go at producing the show. So I will not ask another question. That will wrap up our What's the Difference segment. What I did want to come back, though, to do and allow our guests to, again, remind the audience who they are, what they do, and then the key question, what was your key takeaway from the show? So, Chani, I'm going to start with you. Just, again, remind people who you are, what you do, and then tell me your key takeaway from today.
Okay. My name is Chani, and I work in financial services, and my focus is on helping people plan for the unexpected, the things that you can't plan for, right? Have something in place for when the unimaginable happens. And my biggest takeaway from the show really is to not be afraid to lean into the things that maybe are uncomfortable as you're going through the growth phases, and letting yourself be seen, letting your brand really take hold, and making sure that what you're putting out there honors that brand and the mission.
Love it. Good answer. Love it. All right. Same to you. Who are you? What do you do? And, what's your key takeaway from today?
So I'm Larry Carara, have a financial planning practice. I help people become wealthy. That's what I do. That's why I'm here. My biggest takeaway from today was actually twofold. Was one, making sure that consistency across your brand is I knew it was important. It was reaffirmed by everyone else on this show. Consistency. It's the key to success. The second was actually from Chani, not being afraid to share more personalized stories. Like I couldn't imagine not sharing that story with every single person that I run across. Sometimes we get too in between our ears about thinking about what people might feel about what the story is imparting onto them. And with a story like that should be told to everyone. Scream from the rooftops because it's awesome.
Yeah, I agree.
Love that. No, you're absolutely right. 100%. Love it. Great answers. All right, Paul and Bethany, I'll let you guys, give your key takeaway based on today, and then I'll wrap the show.
Go ahead, Bethany.
Thank you, Paul.
Gentlemen.
So I'm Bethany Rowan with Coldwell Banker, and I'm honored to get to serve the Community Difference Frisco once a month on Thursdays. And my key takeaway from today is, again, exactly what Larry said and what Chani and I agreed upon, which is consistency and how hard it is to do, and how you definitely have to have that focus to have your business be more successful each and every year and month that you're in it. So thank you so much. I love being a part of this show.
All right, I gotta hurry. Nathan's got us on the timer, so or Ethan does. Somebody does back there. But anyway, well, my name is Paul Fisher, and I'm a mortgage lender with Certainty Home Lending, and based out of here in the North Dallas area, North Texas area. My biggest takeaway were getting to know Larry and Chani a little bit better. I mean, I like what Larry said. It's like you shouldn't be ashamed that you're trying to gain wealth and have options. I mean, gracious sake, that is a great takeaway, and Chani's stories as well. But I like these shows because I get to know a little bit deeper about two people that I may need Larry that I've never met before, and Chani that I see. So thank y'all for being on the show today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. It's been amazing.
Well, we appreciate you guys coming on today. For first-time podcasters, you guys hit home runs today.
Yeah,
so
killed it.
You guys are naturals. So we appreciate your insights today. Great stories from both of you. Love hearing those. So thank you for being on with us today. Paul and Bethany, thanks again for being my awesome co-hosts. Love having you guys on every month. So great to see you guys again. And with that, we're going to wrap the show. We're here every Thursday, 2:30 p.m. We are live. So what you saw here is what you're going to get going forward as far as the blunders and the fun audio that we may have. But we appreciate you tuning in. We look forward to seeing you next week. Have a happy and safe weekend. With that, take care, guys. Bye-bye.
Good job, Ethan.
Bye, guys.
Thank you for watching today's show.
The Community Difference Frisco was made possible by Brian Poduska with Real Property Management Focus, Paul Fisher with Certainty Home Lending, Bethany Rowan with the B. Rowan Realty Group, Tracy Churchman with Best Buddies, Jacqueline Kreider with PBJ Mortgage, Debbie Watson with Team Watson Redeemers, and by Ethan Donovan with the Donovan Creative Agency. The Community Difference Frisco. Together, we can make the difference.